Mara is so much more interesting. She's got a lot more dimensions, and we finally get to know what is part of her dream.
Right.
She thinks it's Darth Vader and Luke screaming in rage, turning around to strike down the Emperor. And that's not what happened.
It's what happened in Lego Star Wars.
Is that why you're laughing, Kyle?
No, I'm just thinking about what actually happened. Just him being picked up in the town. So, no.
What if she imagined Luke and Vader picking him up together?
It's just like Vader's got the arms, Luke's got the legs. 1, 2.
Like every time they swing him, a little bit of lightning chucks out one side, like they're swinging a big bag of water. Hello there, you found the Lost Holocron, an ancient artifact of lore and legends from a galaxy far, far away. Each transmission of the Lost Holocron, you will join an episodic discussion of media from a Star Wars universe. We will be your guides. My good friend, Tim.
Aw, I like you too, Stuart.
My chaotic friend, Kyle.
Why don't phones have calculators on them anymore?
My true neutral friend, Scott.
You know, if somebody had seen chicken fingers for the first time before they ever saw a chicken, they might be really scared of chickens.
And I'm Stuart. We will be covering the material up to and including Chapter 20 of The Dark Force Rising. Scott, what happened so far? All right, you're supposed to be eating. Never mind.
I'm
happened
still
so
eating
far?
my chicken fingers.
Stupid AI conversation. As the last of the Jedi and the first of the New Order, Luke is overwhelmed with the responsibility upon his shoulders. He faces expectations from the New Republic, the various peoples of the galaxy, and himself, under the shadow of the mythology of the Jedi. His sister, Leia Organa Solo, is pregnant with twins, and so far his difficulties teaching her do not bode well for his future niece and nephew. Drua Sabayoth is the clone of a long-dead Jedi Master in the days of the Old Republic. He made a deal with Grand Admiral Thrawn to assist the Empire in their military operations in exchange for the delivery of Force sensitives. During a skirmish over Nkllon, Sabayoth contacts Luke Skywalker, urging him to seek him out. Unaware of Sabayoth's true nature, Luke heeds the beckon in earnest, but many setbacks delayed his arrival to Jomark. Mara Jade is an ex-Imperial operative with a grudge against Skywalker. Her Imperial career was tied entirely to the Emperor, and with his assassination, her entire life crumbled. After years of struggle, she integrated with Talon Karrde's smuggling organization, becoming his protege after 6 months. Luke and Mara's worlds collide on Merkur, where they have to work together to avoid Imperial detection. She revealed to him her previous life as the Emperor's hand, and her deep-seated animosity for him. For having helped Skywalker escape the Imperials, Karrde's organization must evade the Empire. Mara is intercepted and is taken to negotiate with the Grand Admiral. She divulges that Karrde holds information about the location of a long-lost fleet of warships, the Katana fleet. Thrawn tricks Mara into bringing the Empire down on Karrde's head, resulting in his capture. Thrawn offers Mara a position in his new empire, but she is perturbed that Karrde might believe her to have betrayed him. She feigns a pledge of loyalty to Thrawn, but leaves to seek Skywalker to help free Karrde. After many incidents, Luke arrives on Jomark. On his way, he has encountered new expectations and responsibilities that the image of a Jedi seems to carry. Master Sabayoth is not the exemplary Jedi that he would have hoped to find, but nevertheless submits himself to this seemingly senile Jedi's teachings. Kyle, what happened this chapter?
Sabayoth and Luke give their counter to the people of Jomark. Sabayoth is dissatisfied with Luke's progress under his tutelage. They have some fundamental disagreements. Sabayoth sees the universe as jealous and unwelcoming, while Luke has felt respected and hopeful. Sabayoth seems suddenly overcome with exhaustion and sends Luke to retire for the evening. Mara, on the other hand, awakens while recurring nightmare for the Emperor's final moments as he exits hyperspace. During Mara's approach from orbit, she experiences an eerily similar sense of exhaustion herself. Remembering her flight trainer's warnings against inattention and fatigue, she chides herself for carelessness. What is, Stuart?
Yeah.
What does chide mean?
Chide means to like rebuke or like to warn somebody, to be harsh about their failures.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Stuart. Don't know what I'd do without you.
Thank you.
She chides herself for her carelessness, or is it her carelessness? As she approaches her Yasala Mary at the back of the craft, finds herself beyond Cyber's influence. On her final approach, her ship is pelted by rocks, her repulsor lift, is knocked out, and her skip ray plummets to the ground.
I like how this cool little skip ray ship is brought down by little pebbles.
Yeah. That's the power of the Force, baby.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Earthbending, right?
Yeah, earthbending.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Yay. Bullet bending.
Yeah, I like to think it's just Cyberioth on the ground doing just throwing rocks up its face. He's like, "Get out of here!" Old man yells at clouds.
Mars just in the crossfire.
He was really trying to hit the clouds, and she just got in the way.
Yeah. I like that he had that spell over the area.
Yeah, like a dark spell to make her like just crazy.
Be tired like once you enter the perimeter. Yeah,
I didn't quite catch that at first, and then as soon as she reached the Assumary's bubble, she got over it. She like suddenly felt back to normal, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
It's the power of the Force, baby.
Yeah.
I really like how Timothy Zahn writes in that way, that he gives you all those clues that you figure it out right before the twist, or you can figure it out before the twist, which I feel like is necessary to a good story, because if you don't know what's coming, if you can't tell the plot twist before the twist because of the clues laid out, then you're just withholding from the audience, and like that's like a jump scare in a movie rather than just something that's legitimately scary.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking more and more about rewatch value and reconsumption value, I guess, on watching YouTube videos, movies, reading books, because this is the second time that I've read this trilogy, and I read these chapters multiple times before we record these sessions. On the first time I was like, oh yeah, this is totally what Sabaoth's doing. She's not really tired, is she? And then there's a reveal, and then you go back and you reread the chapter and you're like, oh my god, okay, yeah, no, totally, he's laying down these things beforehand. And he did that with in chapter 18 with Feria being the one who is leaving a message as Luke, and you're like, oh, there's totally enough breadcrumbs here to say that this isn't Luke and this is actually Feria. We know that Feria is after this, that Han and Lando, and in that way, making you feel like you're the detective in the story makes you more engaged with that, and I feel like that makes for a better story.
That's funny. The thing I couldn't stop thinking about was the fact that she's like, I couldn't, like, she's talking about his face in his final moments, and then I was just thinking of his fucking stupid gray wrinkled face. Because at this point in the story, like, you don't see really, like, you don't know what the Emperor looks like. But we know, we in the future know.
Can I talk about something that's maybe a little less obvious and might spoil things a little bit?
Sure.
I do
Fuck me up, man.
I think that Luke being tired is also part of Sabaoth's twisting of him.
That's a good point.
His bubble of influence or whatever.
Yeah, like at the very beginning of the book, at the very beginning of the chapter, it says Luke tried to push back the fatigue that had become a permanent part of him. That, like, ever since being there, he's had this constant pressure on him from Sabaoth, because he knows we know he wants to manipulate him, brainwash him, mold him into some other way, right? So this must be him, right? This isn't just Luke being tired from learning stuff. It's Sabaoth trying to break him.
The reason why I first read how Mara reached the Issamiri in the back of the skip ray, and she suddenly felt back to normal, like she had become re-energized, I thought maybe it was because of her nightmares that she's had, and like the Force felt like such a burden on her, and when she didn't feel the Force anymore, suddenly she felt re-energized. That's originally what I had thought, and then I realized, oh, Sabaoth's doing that.
Maybe it hit her more strongly than Luke, though, because of that.
Yeah,
because with Luke it seems to be a slow ramp up, But then again, Sabaoth could have been more concentrated with her because he's like, stay away.
Yeah, that's what I think is going on. He's trying to shoo her away. She's not supposed to be there now, but he's slowly trying to break Luke down so that he can rebuild him into his image.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has like domain. I think everyone feels this. I think he's been causing more problems than he is willing to admit. I don't know if he even fully knows it to what the extent of what he's doing. Because, I mean, typically the area around Sith is not pleasant. It's like dying around them.
Yeah. It's like a field of entropy or something.
And I think he's slowly draining not only the people around him, but also himself, because he is also getting tired.
Yeah, he's like projecting an aura of madness or something.
I think he's deteriorating, and his will with the Force. I've had this thought in many magical worlds. What is it like for like somebody who has, like, if a wizard in Dungeons and Dragons or a Jedi in Star Wars, like, what if somebody has Alzheimer's, somebody with magical powers doesn't really have control of themselves and their mind anymore?
That sounds pretty terrifying.
Like in Logan with Professor X.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We've talked about X-Men before, and X-Men on their last legs has got to be pretty terrible.
Scary. Yeah. What if Sabaoth isn't actually using the Force and he's just that exhausting of a person?
He's just that hard to be around.
He's an energy vampire.
Well, it's the old man smell, It's
So that's why his chair smells that bad.
Right. It looks good, but it smells terrible.
Well, no, I think it's like a thing that's like, he does have like a dome up, because it clearly was something to affect Mara, but I think it's unintentionally leaking out to everybody now, and it's like he just doesn't have full control like he usually does.
Oh, that is possible.
Yeah.
I think, though, it's directed. It's why Sabaoth was kind of like snapped into like 1,000-yard stare after dismissing everybody, and Luke was like, "Oh, he must be tired. He's old. I'm gonna peek inside his brain to see what's going on here," and he gets nothing. And that's when I think he's trying to assault Mara, trying to bring her down.
Yeah.
And then
he sensed her coming.
Yeah, he sensed her coming, turned his power on her. She kind of like shook it off and was like, "Okay, well, hold on, I need to go back and touch grass with the Asalamiri." And
I know you're an emotional support pet.
And then that's when he snapped out of it, because he knows that he can't touch her behind the Force bubble.
Yeah.
And he was like, go to bed. Go to bed. I need to go throw some rocks. Do this the old-fashioned way.
Right. Well, and then so like his Mitch McConnell moment at the end of the right before he sends Luke to bed, I think maybe he was sensing Mara was coming, and he was like, "Oh, I gotta project my bubble of craziness," or And...
Yeah.
I didn't consider. I was like, maybe he's like unintentionally affecting himself. Maybe he has been this entire time mentally chipping away at Luke, so he's just exhausted. He's been basically trying to wear him down for days at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
For that too. Yeah.
Because when Luke has his mind on something, he's hard to break.
And it is a classic maneuver of cults, and I've studied them well. A good way to keep your people in line is to make sure that they are always busy and always tired, so they have no time to think about anything else.
Oh, goodness.
Just like our society.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking
Capitalism
about.
strikes again.
Back to Star Wars. Please.
I know, we need to escape reality.
So, again, Mara is so much more interesting with something to grab onto. We have details here about like where she's been, what she's done, what she wants, and
she seems to have a real motive.
Yeah. And she's a fluid character in these stories, unlike the last one when she had a motivation which was to kill Luke, but like it was static. She was just a single point, whereas now she's
very one-dimensional.
She's got a lot more dimensions, and we finally get to know what is part of her dream. And
right, yep.
Well, I don't want to say dream, I want to say nightmare, because nightmares are real things. I experience them with a certain frequency, and they're harrowing. It's difficult, but just like Mara, it really, really, really affects you, and it doesn't necessarily show what was true, but she doesn't know that it wasn't true. She thinks that, because even in the dream, it's Darth Vader and Luke screaming in rage, turning around to strike down the Emperor. And that's not what happened.
Right.
It's what happened in Lego Star Wars.
Is it?
Yeah,
What are you laughing about?
Is that what you're laughing, Kyle?
No, I'm just thinking about what actually happened. Just him being picked up and thrown down there. I think I would have loved this actor 1,000 times more if it was just her perspective of him being picked up and thrown down.
Or does she imagine Luke and Vader picking him up together? It's just like Vader's got the arms, Luke's got the legs.
We're just like 1, 2.
Meanwhile, he's just there with the lightning trying to get them.
He's just like blasting like the ceiling and the walls and shit.
It's going all over like every time they swing him, a little bit of lightning chucks out one side, like they're swinging a big bag of water.
That would have been amazing.
Oh man.
But I another thing I just realized is this is not a personal thing against Mara, because he wants to meet Mara. Well, he I don't think he knows he wants to meet Mara, but he is excited that there is another Force sensitive person out there.
Yeah.
Right. Luke did tell him about her.
Right, and he was like, "You really? You met her?
What's her name?"
Well, I think he knew there was somebody else. Maybe he didn't know specifics, but I think he knew there.
Right.
Yeah.
He'd sensed her switching on and off in the Force.
Yeah.
Before.
Which, if she, I guess I'm a little. I think he is distracted. I think he is focusing really hard and trying to chip away at Luke, because he is aware that there is somebody else out there attached to the Force right now, and if she was not close enough to the Ysalamiri to be affected by whatever's going on, then he would have been able to felt her, but he didn't. So he clearly is more focused on Luke right now.
Do you think that he felt blips of her because she was going in and out of bubbles of, going to and from Merca, that he just can't sense anything on Merca, or that, and she was around a Salamiri, just in Card's organization in general, or is he sensing little bits of her because he or she is regaining those powers?
Now, I think she is now regaining the powers, and now he's getting blips of her.
And that's why it's sensing her. Okay.
I think another factor is that she's also actively resisting the powers coming back. Because the nightmares come with it.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot happening there.
Yeah. Like a serious burden on her.
Yeah.
Do you think the nightmares are a result of Palpatine himself pushing that on her? Like the message, kill Luke Skywalker, is that the way that this comes out? And he's just, creating a sob story for her of like, I was a defenseless old man and I had, they turned on me together.
That makes so much sense, because if these were just like normal human psychological nightmares, then she would still have them even around the Salamiri, like without the Force.
And another thing to consider, I don't think she was actually there.
No,
when he died. I think this is an image that he is putting in their head, and like the monsters came in and attacked me.
Yeah.
I think Paige was there.
Paige tickled him while they carried him.
I was feeding homeless people when they kicked in my door. But yeah, I do not think this was a personal attack against Mara. I think she showed up when the do not disturb sign was on the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think it's going to be turned around as like, oh, you passed my test, you used the Force enough to repel or use your intelligence enough to repel my assault, and that makes you worthy of being my apprentice, sort of deal?
Yeah, why not?
I guess
Well,
he doesn't seem to.
Yeah.
He pretty much only has any kind of regard for people who use the Force, though. And if you're using your intelligence and you're not using the Force, then you're not mature enough. As he was saying to Luke about society and their civilizations, and they're just primitives, and he was like, well, they're not that primitive. They got technology. He's like, but they don't use the Force. They don't have true maturity.
He talks down to these people so much.
Oh yeah, he does.
These are bumbling idiots to him.
Doesn't matter what planet he's on. Yeah.
This is kind of weird, though. If you think about it, the way that he's saying to use the Force is to be, if the Force wills it, you follow, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That there's this kind of pull and push relationship of it just being instinctual. And for him to look down on other people that, like, oh, they've got technology, they think they can think for themselves, but they really don't. It's using the Force that is the true test of a civilization. But like, he's also at the whim of the Force almost, and like that doesn't seem particularly, not cultured, but that doesn't seem particularly what was the word that they were using, advanced either. That seems almost primitive.
In a way, yes. I don't think if you were really listening to the Force that it would be like on a whim like that, or it would be chaotic. Actually, partially chaotic, just because of the fact that light and dark always exist and you can't get rid of either.
You're on the quantum phone of the Force.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to the Force, wouldn't it make more sense to be like actively listening to the Force, or do you think it's just like shows up in your head one time, just at random?
Well, I think it's like people, on a surfboard that, you gain skill in riding the wave, but you also have to learn how to navigate the wave in order to stay upright.
That's a good way to put it.
I don't think he hears the Force anymore.
The trappings of civilization without substance is the phrase that he used.
What if he doesn't have it much, maybe he can't hear the Force anymore, and he's
I think
bitter about it.
I think it was like, I heard the Force, and I've listened to it for a long time, that it became a second nature to me, but now he's become this corrupted clone Jedi, whatever, and now it's now he has got feelings, but it's just what he thinks is right, and he's like, oh, it's the feelings I think are because of the Force, so that makes it right.
Tim, you know who Sabaoth needs as a teacher?
Kreia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, everyone needs a little bit of Kreia.
Yeah.
Yeah. But only so much.
Yeah.
There's a very hard cutoff point.
Yeah. I mean, I think the good thing about Kreia is that, like, in the way that Socratically she forces you to reevaluate what you think is true, and whether or not that you abandon her conclusions in the end, she doesn't care about that. But the fact that you think for yourself is the most important thing.
Which is like the most positive way to interpret Sith philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we look for what Ben said in episode 4 about the Rise of the Empire? Because I want to compare that to what Sabaoth said. Okay, this is just single quoting lines.
I'm reading the script.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where do you find stuff like that?
I Googled it.
Oh, okay.
What I find is interesting is that it mentions the lightsaber blade is about 4 feet specifically.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Internet Movie Script Database?
Yeah. Now, it isn't going to be like 100% like the final film because there's always still changes, but
Right.
it can maybe trigger some memories.
Okay, we got an elegant weapon for a more civilized sage. Before the dark times.
That's such a good line.
The dark times?
All of it, an elegant weapon for over 1,000 generations before the dark times.
Oh, yeah,
That whole thing flows so well.
Yeah. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster.
Yeah.
I wish we'd seen more of that, like these things being not precision weapons, but
Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force. That's probably the closest I can find.
yeah, I want to find the part where it's describing the old Republic, because very specifically in this chapter, Sabaoth also says for 1,000 generations, and so I wanted to compare those points specifically. All right, so in the book it says, Sabaoth's eyes drift away as if peering into the past. There was such a society once, a vast and shining example of the heights all could aspire to. For 1,000 generations we stood tall among the lesser beings of the galaxy, guardians of order and justice, the creators of true civilization. The Senate would debate and pass laws, but it was the Jedi whose turned those laws into reality, and in return the galaxy destroyed us.
Obi-Wan just says they were the guardians of peace and justice.
So do you think there's a lot of truth to what Sabaoth says?
No.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
think,
not as far as, them being the true guardians of... Do you think the galaxy was responsible for that overall?
Yeah, that's a pretty plausible... that's a plausible idea. And I mean, we see it come back up in new canon. Particularly in the Clone Wars, where like in the later episodes, you'll see protests outside the temple.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it he says, well, Luke replies that he thought it was the Emperor and Dark Jedi that exterminated everybody, and he said that they couldn't have done it without the support of the galaxy. Why would you be able to commit such mass genocide without support from at least the people in power? And you need to be supported by at least key players in the galaxy, and maybe that's what the difference is between Sabaoth and Ben Kenobi is that Ben was one of the people, and he was down there working with the people on the floor. That the examples that Luke gives is the Barabel in chapter, I want to say it was chapter 12 or something like that. Yoda didn't have any no bitterness or anger, and even the people in the Mos Eisley Cantina treated Ben Kenobi with aloof respect, but respect nonetheless, even after he killed 2 people. And so, because of the way that Sabaoth is trying to control power from above, that I think that's maybe those 2 directions, is that if you're grassroots helping people are, that's a genuine philanthropy that people want to support. But if you're one of those people from the top just dictating, I know what's best for people, of course people are going to be resistant to that. It's totally disingenuous.
Absolutely, yeah.
To work that way. And, maybe that is the difference, is that they were part of different sects of Jedi, ones that were working with people in power. So if Sabaoth has memories of a Sabaoth that was brushing shoulders with politicians aren't going to want the monks coming in and telling them what to do. Whereas, Obi-Wan Kenobi being there in the ground floor, people are asking for their wisdom or whatever. That's like a much more mutually respectful situation to be in. And I think that might be the difference of point of view that's going on here.
Yeah, the Jedi really should act more as clergy in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking the Jedi Order should be a religion instead of a peacekeeping force. Like an actual religious organization. It probably might do better that way.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. Oh, but then that means no more lightsabers.
No, mate, they're totally like there with lightsabers to defend the people against, attack from without or something. They're just if they are clergy, they're also clergy that have their paladins.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of what they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought there was more comment to be made about what Ben might have said, but I guess, we got a lot out of that in the end. Yeah. There is a lot to compare.
Yeah.
I disagree with everything that was said while I was gone.
Yeah. So we've given Luke in the past for the kind of moral quandaries he's thinking about. Some of them are like a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in this chapter now I get it, because he has a lot of pressure on him, like an immense bright spotlight. And so he really is overthinking everything.
I feel like he was way more Boy Scouty in the previous chapters than in this one. Like the times that we were getting onto him, he's like, I can't kill somebody, but like he's like in the chapter just before that, he like blacked out and killed off a fleet. It's like so he's very wishy-washy on what kind of rules he is willing and not willing to break.
Well, it's like he can't kill somebody that he's looking at. He can only kill people, like he can only kill a million guys in a Death Star. He can't kill somebody he's looking at.
Well, I think he already knows instinctually that kind of violence is necessary. I think he's just questioning it because of the pressure on him.
Right. And they do touch on it because Sabayoth was just like, "What? You've never skirted around the rules to get your way?"
Right.
And he's like, "Well, I mean, yeah, I have." But
that seemed different. He seemed really remorseful about that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even still, he's like, you want to help these people out. They are the resource to help them. And he was like, oh, I don't know. Getting inside their mind seems kind of a bit, like a trespass. But then at the very end of the chapter of his section, he's like, I don't know what's going on with Sabayoth. Let me look inside his mind to see, is he tired? Is he, what's going on? Like,
I think
that is supposed to be Sabayoth's influence. I think he's like, well, maybe he was. Maybe I should be looking in people's minds.
Maybe I can help out my master.
So, well, then again, maybe it's the he was just told to do this thing, so he was like, well, I guess I'll do it here.
Right. Oh, that would have been interesting to see Sabayoth's response.
I mean, Sabayoth doesn't seem to care at the moment because, well, do you think that's why he got so angry, or?
I think I would have liked a much bigger explosion of a reaction out of it. I mean, it was very underplayed here. I would have loved if, like, he tried to look in his mind and, like, he gets jump scared by Sabayoth's, like, face. Like, what are you doing here?
some sort of, like, psychic repulsion or something.
Yeah. That would have been interesting.
But there was a good line after that, though, that said, like, he realized that he was 2 steps back that he didn't realize that he took as well. So it did scare him. He did jump at whatever outburst it was. But
right, yeah. But I do think I have a feeling what the Sabayoth would have said. I think he would have changed the rules and been like, you can absolutely do that on everyone else, but on other Jedi, that's a trespass.
Right, on lesser beings, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and Sabayoth has no problem doing any of that because he thinks basically they're just animals. So why would he be concerned about that?
Yeah. But he probably also has no problem doing it to other Jedi because he has such a crazy superiority complex. He's like, no, I'm the master. Of course I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the master
Right
now.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about so Luke said, oh, I'm going to go this is the thing so what how did you feel about the points that Sabaoth disagreed with? So there was the you should have defined a price right now rather than give it to the council, and you didn't need to go out the next day to suspend judgment until then. Oh, and the other one was that you should have cut them off while they were talking. How do you feel about those points of correction?
We didn't actually hear like the entire like.
We got the gist of it, though.
Yeah, we got the overview. Some guy's livestock broke into the other person's field, ate a bunch of their crops, and the guy wants compensation for the broken fence, for the crops
fruit,
damaged, and the fruit lost, the harvest lost.
Yeah, but the livestock also were injured too going through the fence.
Yeah, and the other guy's like, well, they were injured because you didn't make the fence properly, and if you'd made it properly in the first place, I wouldn't have to pay you this stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
On the first point, I agree with Luke, because I think Jedi should use their wisdom to empower communities.
Yeah.
So you think that the price should be set by the people themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Second point, I agree with Sabaoth. I don't think there was a reason to suspend judgment in this case, and I think it'll just create unnecessary delays for a problem that could be solved very easily.
No, I agree with that too. It's a waste of time.
Yeah. On the third point, I'm with Luke still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody else agree or disagree with any of those points?
Yeah, come on, you guys.
As far as cutting off, I think Jedi should be mediators, not judges. I feel like it's
right.
Like trying to work out the peaceful option. I mean, my personal opinion, blaming the fence maker for being like, we shouldn't have made it to the fence, and my animals would have kicked it down. Maybe if your sandcastle was dirtier, I wouldn't have kicked the sand in your face. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But again, it's like it's weird to be like, I don't know. It's something feels weird about him being like a weird mediator in this case. It's like Sabaoth seems to be in a rush, and I think it's a lack of patience for what he considers animals. He's like, you should cut him off because why do you give us shit what they think? Read their mind and then punish them swiftly.
Rip out that information and use that to lash them with the truth.
People are his to-do list.
Yeah. That kind of, why does he even want to rule over people if he thinks of them as lesser?
Because it still means he has power, and that makes him feel good.
Yeah, I guess
he probably sees it as his burden for his glorious power and purpose.
Yeah, maybe he's just telling himself that he's better. That way he can justify his rule over them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's telling himself that. Maybe he doesn't quite believe it. Maybe he's actually intimidated by them.
He's trying to make himself feel better because he's not an actual human and he's a clone, and he knows that he's lesser than an actual person.
Could be.
Okay, I like this idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's overcompensating. I like this a lot.
I don't know. Like I'm really into a podcast recently a philosophy podcast that talks about. I can't remember. It's called Justifying.
Another podcast.
Justifying narratives or something like that.
Okay.
And so things like meritocracy is a justifying narrative, in that if you work hard, you deserve the things that you get from that, but it completely ignores the fact that opportunities are not equally distributed across all individuals. And so this is one of those justifying narratives of, well, he is above everybody else, so he gets to make those decisions for them.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, like you said, he's not empowering the people to elevate themselves. He is keeping them down. And I feel like that's we said last time about Thrawn, that that's the authoritarian or the fascist regime of we justify our comfort at the top because we are, they rely on the export of the crops or the society to function as it does, so that all of the goods can float to the surface, where they can have a leisurely life and justify that by saying, well, we have the power, we have all the risk, we have all these other things that justify our position.
That's really interesting to have Luke fight against the Empire, and now to have him be confronted by Empire philosophies within Force teachings. And decide how he feels.
I didn't consider it like that, but yeah, you're right. Because the other thing that is at play here is that Sabaoth is expressing something that I think is a really valuable principle, which is opportunity cost of something, in that by spending your time doing this thing, you don't have that time to then dedicate to the next project. And so you should be cutting people off, because if you've got all the information that you need, you don't need them to waffle on.
Yeah.
And that's just taking time away from the next person that you could be helping and understanding their problems better.
It's true.
So you need to satisfy the conditions of this judgment and then hand out your judgment. I do agree with you, though, that you just give the townspeople, you decide the price, but I'm telling you need to do this, or this person needs to pay for this, or you collaboratively need to pay for the fence or something. Yeah, I do think it's very valuable, as somebody with a lot of hobbies. I don't practice this enough, but consider, if I'm going to do this, it means that I don't have time to do that. And that is the opportunity cost of doing these things is, if you spend money on doing this thing, it means that you can't spend money doing that thing.
Right. Exactly.
It's a useful frame to look at a lot of things, and I wish that I looked at it more like that. I mean, there's certainly like this capitalist idea of disregarding people that we see in this thing, and the imperial philosophy of I'm dictating to you what's important, and not empowering you guys.
It's tough because I think Jedi do, even if they can like read minds, still need to give people the opportunity to say their piece, because then resentment can build. But then at the same time, you could just use the Force to influence them so that they felt listened to anyway. So I guess Luke is right to ask where the line is and at what point you trespass.
Just snowballs into chaos.
Exactly, it can snowball.
Yeah.
It's like when you tell one little lie, then you have to continue to lie, and bigger and bigger and bigger. Yep.
Right. One small manipulation leads to a larger manipulation.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think that's where Sabaoth is going to find himself now that he's been pushing against Mara and pushing against Luke. He's going to push against Leia. Those things are going to add up, and he's going to be trapped in his own web of lies.
By trying to cross things off his to-do list really quickly, he ended up making a massive to-do list for himself, potentially, of things to manage. Yeah.
He's not measuring twice and cutting once on that fence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fun. This is fun.
Yeah. Force stuff is the best to talk about.
Yeah.
Well.
So what would you guys do then? Would you read someone's mind to get information to help them out? Or would you consider that a boundary?
I don't know. I mean, me personally, I'd probably take the easy way out and just read it mine.
Yeah.
I said, would I have the willpower not to?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put
I
it.
wouldn't.
That's also...
That's a really good way to put it, yeah.
I know one thing.
You're like, ooh, I know that guy's PIN number now.
like I know one thing is that I hate when it happens a lot when there's somebody who can read minds. They always inevitably end up hearing something they don't like. I would never be mad about it because that was something that was said in private. Whether it's something I can control or not, I'm not going to get mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think it would have to be somebody I know, because if I just overheard someone like having a mental issue, and I would be like, hey, Let me tell you how to fix that.
Yeah, right. That's true. Our brains do fire off a lot of random thoughts that we don't actually
Oh,
need. Yeah.
God knows random thoughts fire off.
Thanks,
I'm not here
ADHD.
half the time, guys.
Right.
I don't believe that people are their thoughts. I think
No.
you don't exist in that space, and to think that you are all of your thoughts is you're going to walk a very dark path for that. And
Yeah.
It
You
is,
need to be
because
able
we
to
create our own
distance.
narratives in our mind, too.
yeah,
Right.
I
Your
mean, like,
mind. Yeah.
you don't have any control over the thoughts that come out through your mind. So
Yeah. We
I
are
would argue
not
that you
our
don't have
minds.
any control over anything at all.
Yeah.
But
We'll
a
get to that
different
conversation someday. We will.
Yeah.
It needs to come earlier in the episode, Stuart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But-
our mind is just another tool that we can use.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
It's
people
not
don't
us.
realize that. People, one of the best quotes I ever heard is, "You are not your mind," and it is because we should have control over it. We don't always, but it's just something that we can utilize.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm with Kyle on the question.
Yeah.
If there was someone that I had a good relationship with and like we trusted each other, then I probably would do it more.
I think
And
I
then
feel more.
if they told me to stop, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
I
But I
don't
mean,
know if
that's the thing. It's about boundaries and it's about consent. And if
Yeah.
you shouldn't just do the Sabaoth thing of like, their minds are just open books to me and I'm going to rifle through them whenever I want. Because,
He
those
also
books have-
touches at the museum.
because those books have thoughts and feelings of their own. So, you ask them, like, can I read the book? Can you tell me the page that I'm supposed to turn to get this information out? And if the book is like, yeah, go ahead, open me up to page 40, or like, yes, go ahead and look through the appendix until you find the thing that you need. Like, people can consent to those things, but
It's true. Yeah.
if somebody said no, then you're crossing boundaries. That's what makes it.
And I guess the reverse
me,
question
that's
is, how would you guys feel if somebody just walked up to me like, "Hey there, I was just reading your mind, and I have a solution to your issue."
I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I'd be curious. I want to.
I wouldn't really know how to react, but I'd be like, okay, what do you think?
Personally, I think I'd be more comfortable reading a stranger's mind rather than somebody that I know, because I don't want to know the things about people that I know that could totally change my
That's
how I
true.
feel about them. Because if they're close enough to me, I'm going to want to probably live the rest of my life with them. And if I learn something that's just totally life changing, I probably wouldn't want to know that thing. But with a random stranger, I'm a lot less invested in them, and I don't care.
That's true.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
something
want
you
to
can walk
know.
away from.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to know all the little things I do that annoys my partner, but they don't tell me. But they like put up with it because it genuinely does not matter that much to them. It's just a very temporary frustration.
Mm-hmm.
But if I knew about them, then it would weigh on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe reading minds just sucks.
Yeah.
What superpower would you guys pick? I want the
What would
power
I
to
pick,
get a
though?
good night's sleep on command.
Oh, that would be great. That'd be an amazing power.
To not need sleep and also be able to sleep on command.
Right.
I'd like that too.
I would want to have perfect digestion. No more acid reflux. No more constipation.
Yeah, I would pick the not sleeping one. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's my number one for sure, especially since I sleep like 10 all the time.
Maybe enhanced healing too, but not to Wolverine levels where you're immortal.
No, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I'm cool. I mean, my
know
body
what?
hurts
Yeah.
so much all the time.
Yeah, sure. If you get bored with life, you can choose when to end it instead of it being chosen for you.
I think that is certainly the most humane way to live.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's more humane than just saying like, well, you've got a random number generator in your head that's gonna reach 0 at some point.
Yeah. So there are some good superpowers. They're not all burdens.
I want the superpower where I can like instantly learn other superpowers.
Oh, what if you could instantly learn and retain information?
Yeah, that's the other thing I would probably go with. Learning instantly. Yeah, because I've always had such a hard time learning my whole life.
What's that power? It's the one that Siler from Heroes has.
Also,
Intuitive
Halloween is tomorrow,
aptitude.
guys. What costume are you gonna wear?
Ooh,
What do you mean? We're already in our costumes.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Birthday suit.
This your own birthday.
Scott's
boy.
camera is off during this recording.
He's shirtless and he's written "Happy Birthday" across his chest.
I shaved it in my chest hair.
I am Obi-Wan Kenobi. How I pulled that off, I'm not going to tell you. You can imagine it.
From the Thumb Wars.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yeah.
I'm Biggie Cheese from back in the barnyard.
I don't know this.
I don't either. It's funny, but I don't know it. It sounds funny.
I just look up Biggie Cheese and he's great.
The rats.
We need to link this.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, I'll join in on the fun. What is this?
It's just a black rat with some gold bling.
I can tell he has mad bars.
Oh, okay. I've seen this thing before.
Just like around or
in my garage. No, I'm kidding.
What's your costume, Stuart?
Just can tabs being turned into a giant chainmail shirt.
Oh yeah. How far have you gotten on that?
He's wearing it, what do
Probably
you mean?
enough to. Yeah, it's a huge dress, can't you see?
Yeah.
No, I think I've got enough squares that I could probably make up a shirt, but I'm afraid to put it together. I don't know how to make it fit as well. I made a gauntlet, but I don't know how to put my hand in it. I need to put some rubber bands or something on it so that it's actually flexible enough to to fit.
Ouch.
What about the head coif? Are you gonna do that?
The head coif? I don't know. They don't generally have those in Legend of Zelda, so probably not.
Oh, you're doing it. Okay.
are you gonna battle
It's called
test
coif.
this?
Oh,
Battle
yeah.
tested. Maybe. We'll see.
You'll be impervious to magnets. They're the aluminum tabs.
They're made of aluminium, yeah. Well, the
But,
thing is that all of my weapons are blunt weapons. I don't have any cutting things, which is what chainmail is good for. You can
Right.
still be crushed
Yeah.
by stuff in chainmail,
Yep.
which is
Yeah,
why if
it's
your
not
opponent's
great.
wearing chainmail,
It's good
people
against
at you mace.
glancing and cutting, but not like piercing or smashing.
yeah. So we'll see. I'll put it on. I'll see if I can find a dummy and put it on there and check it out. Is there any other thoughts on this chapter? I do have one more, but anybody else?
Sounds like bedtime to me.
I'm good too. I like
So
this chapter.
when did Mara get her blaster back?
I don't think she picked up a blaster in this chapter. She was just dreaming.
So between the last chapter, when she left the Imperials, they took her blaster.
Yeah.
And when she met up with Aves, she was like, I don't have my blaster. And then she gets to Dormark, and suddenly she has her blaster.
Are you talking about the next chapter?
Am I?
This chapter ended with her ship
Going
falling out of
down.
the sky. Yeah, she's just been in the ship the whole entire time.
Oh, shit.
So I don't know, Scott. When did she get her blaster back? You've read more of it than I have.
Was it in this chapter? I don't remember. I might have gone over into 21.
Yeah, no, Control Effing Blaster is not mentioned in chapter 20.
Oh, goddamn
is mentioned a dozen times in chapter 19, and then maybe 10 times in chapter 21. Your thing might have rolled over.
I guess I rolled over. My bad.
Yeah.
Done it again.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Something to talk about next time.
Yeah.
You guys didn't hear anything.
And what is a blaster?
So Sabaoth said, I will teach Leia such power as you can't imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And then Luke was like, oh, that kind of feels wrong to me.
Yeah.
What do you guys get from that?
Yeah, because the Jedi is supposed to be about peace and, you know, just using the Force to improve lives. It's not supposed to be about holding power.
Honestly, though, I
Yeah.
could hear Yoda saying the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You think so, huh? Using
do.
the actual word power?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
teach
yeah. He
her
says
power
that,
with-
he says
he's
that,
like,
Huh.
he's like, this is what true power is, like, essentially, like the light side of
Well,
the Force is
okay,
true
maybe his
power.
definition of power is different, though. Because
Exactly, yeah.
yeah, his idea of power is
I don't know.
improving, you know, using the Force for benevolent reasons, whereas
Meanwhile,
Sabaoth-
Luke has seen what Sabaoth's doing.
yeah, and Sabaoth
yeah.
wants power to control people and rule over
Yeah.
them.
Exactly, yeah.
Hold on. I'm looking through the Empire Strikes Back. Powerful Jedi was he. Powerful Jedi. Judge me by my size. Look at me. And you should not, for the Force is my ally, and a powerful ally it is. But I'm fairly sure Luke says something like, "Well, I want to be a powerful Jedi," and then oh, that's right, the word crave. Yeah. Yoda says, this one a long time I have watched. All his future has he looked away, not to the future, to the horizon, never his mind on what he was. What he was doing. Adventure, excitement. A Jedi craves not these things. And, you know, same thing with power that is used for knowledge and defense, never attack.
Right.
And that's what I think the alarm bells were. Well, for me, that was.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. When you are calm, at peace, passive, a Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack. But tell me why I can't. No, there is no why. Nothing more will I teach you today. Clear your mind of questions.
Yeah,
Empire
Yoda
such a
got
good
tired
movie.
of Luke pretty quickly.
Well, that's why he died.
No, I think it's like,
No, just
you know,
kidding.
you can only fill a cup so much before it overflows, and
Yeah.
True, yeah.
you're diluting whatever the thing it is that you put in it in the first place.
But he also got annoyed by him.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. He also asked him too many questions and died.
Yeah.
You'll understand if you ever become a parent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Enough of that. Awesome chapter.
Yeah. This was probably one of my favorites so far.
Mhm.
And now Mara's gonna be in the mix. Yay.
Yay. This has been the Lost Holocron. You can find transcripts, links to discussions, and more at our website, lostholocron.com. Lostholocron.com. Am I saying that right? Lostholocron.com. While you're there, you can learn how you can support the creation of future episodes. Read on, and we will be waiting for you in the next transmission. We'll be honored if you would join us.